Bang bang to the gang. Faithful boys in the building. P Warrior underscore Niner. Benjamin That's Good. Special guest Jason Hurley of 49erscap.com. How y'all doing tonight, fellas?
Good. How you doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Appreciate you rocking with us. Everybody who's checking us out
And
and who will check us out, make sure that y'all like and share and subscribe.
I'm good, bro.
That's what's up, man.
Yeah, I'm good.
And Jason, where are you at right now, bro? Like, where are you tuning in from right now?
New York.
Okay, you're on the East Coast. Got it. Got it. Well, we should have a pretty good show for you guys today. It's gonna be our Thursday takeaways, leading into the first preseason game coming up tomorrow against Green Bay. We're also obviously going to talk a lot of the financials, cap extensions, releasing players, so forth and so on. And I guess no better place to start than uh, than Jimmy G. The potential of Jimmy G being traded or released, how that would affect our cap this year and next year. So, Jason, if you could help us out, brother, kind of enlighten us a little bit on that, man.
All right. Uh, Once the team does release them, it'll free up a little over $24 million in salary cap. The only issue is that we won't be able to carry it all over till next year. The way the roster is going to be structured, whoever they bring, keep basically on the roster. Estimating between 16 and $18 million when the season begins, and you have the $5 million buffer for probably carry over a good of it, which doesn't sound like a whole lot. Definitely help. Hopefully, keep us some good Emmanuel Mosley, D's, Al Shire, someone like that. Couple good players.
Now I'm having a little problem hearing you. You're kind of coming in and out. I'm gonna let P Warrior, I guess, kind of talk on it a little bit, and we could come back to you and see if we could get you coming through any clearer.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, just having a cap space is gonna be significant, whether he's traded or released, just in terms of, being able to resign E-Man, Aziz, and, trying to keep some of the, top players that, we know gonna produce for him and have produced for him. So if that money could be allocated to them, then that just keep the team strong and that just keep those positions strong. And we see in training camp where, E-Man have taken that next step. We know he was always solid in a lot of ways, but now we
Yeah.
see where he's taking that next step. And then we know Aziz, came from an undrafted, free agent coming off a major injury and had become, a very good, coverage linebacker, running sideline to sideline, had really elevated himself to be rewarded in terms of a nice contract. So just that money from Jimmy G, just like I say, whether they're gonna release him or he get traded, which I think it could be Cleveland, depending on Deshaun Watson situation. That'll free up the money, like Jason was saying, to maybe not roll it all the way over, like they have done in the past, but it's gonna allow them to be able to resign guys that they know have produced and still kind of like in the prime of their career, get into the prime of their career. So that's gonna be beneficial for us, going down the road, not just this year but beyond.
And all right, I heard Jason. I heard you were saying something about save something about 22 million being saved, but then about a $5 million buffer or something like that. I wasn't getting it all. So if you could kind of recap some of that for me.
Yeah. Can you hear me now? to go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah, they gave a little over 24 million when they do trade, and that $5 million basically for in. So I project the team season with 16 to 18 million. Depend on how the team's constructed, who's who, and then I'd probably carry over 10 to 12 $1 million. So
Okay.
I have a good amount, like I said, to be able to keep. Hopefully, they'll keep Mosley. I don't know if they're going to pay the kind of money that they gave Travarius Ward, but keep Mosley around, and I try and or Aziz or well, you know, unfortunately, but that just let Aziz his, in place of Dre. By all accounts, we have the best line in the NFL. I mean, I don't linebacking trio than us, and that defense together and strong. Defense wins championships, right?
Yes, sir.
That's right. And speaking of defense, I guess one of the most important, if not the most important guy on the defensive line, Bosa, he'd be up for an extension. So what will we be looking at as far as number of years, guaranteed money, signing bonus type thing, seeing
Yeah.
if everything were to be status quo and everything goes right with Jimmy, how would all of that affect Nick?
I think Nick will be done next year. I think we're looking at $1 million this off season, and then he had this last season. Does somehow win defensive play, got robbed of any votes last year. Ridiculous, but it was ridiculous. This is the kind of season he had. He didn't get any. I'm looking at $1 is possible, and 110 million guaranteed. That being fully guaranteed. So John, they're all gonna have to. Hopefully, we don't have with Deebo wanting to trade. He has a tough. His brother was the one that held out, and then he waited to sign the extension. But problem with Nick, just because he's in San Francisco, and 49 the organization has been good. I think it'll go smoothly. I think from the Deebo Samuel situation, because if we I don't know how this season would play. I'm glad that they did not with Deebo and just long term is going to happen, and I think it'll be a 5-year. Rushers are signing those 5 years, more of the premier edge rushers.
Okay.
The 5 years. TJ Watt got 5 years. I think it's just. I think what is a firm deals, but when it comes to the big money, most of them are 5-year deals.
Okay, well, yeah, we definitely don't need another Deebo situation going on. You're right about that. And yeah, I know Deebo did take the short deal for the 3 years. So you're saying
Yep.
basically the premier pass rushers usually go for 5, and he probably get like
Yeah, I think.
110 guaranteed.
Yep. Yeah, I think to assume right now. Just gonna go
Okay.
up. It's the number guaranteed. Getting maybe 150 guaranteed if he has like a really like straight hands record. He gets defensive player of the year. But either way, a real issue with him come next year.
Okay. You got anything on that, P Warrior?
Well, I mean, John, said in a lot of the presses, concerning Debo and concerning Nick Bosa that they had the money allocated. So, they said they was going to be 49ers for a long time. Well, we know we got Debo for a minimum of 3. They not letting Nick go nowhere. So if it's going to be a 5-year deal for $110 million guaranteed and whatever the overall total salary is, they going to pay it because, when before they drafted him, they was looking for a pass rush. It was kind of crazy. Like I think it was a couple years before they got the number 2 pick to get him. They had a chance to get Myles Garrett. They couldn't. All of these top pass rushers they had a chance to get, they could never get. They finally get one, and so when you finally get one, you can't let them leave the building. So, and he gonna produce this year. He had what 17 sacks last year. However many sacks it was. With the defensive line we have in place, and he got a chance to get that record to straight hand if he start off strong, and everybody else comes to the party like we expect them to. So, like Jason was saying, if he win defensive player of the year, he get close to straight hand record or break it, that just gonna increase his value and that's just gonna drive it up with the asking price. But they gonna pay it because you're not letting that leave the building. So that's what it's gonna take. 5 years. Yeah, if it's 5 years and X amount of millions of dollars, and they're gonna go ahead and do that. And I agree. I don't think it's gonna be no hard negotiation tactic with his representation. I think come next all season, that'll be announced like it was with Debo. He not gonna practice until that contract get done. So, he'll be out there probably doing what Debo was doing, running sprints or whatever, until they sign that contract. But it's gonna get signed because he too good of a player, man, and he just make the defense great. And like I said, we expected the defense to be dominant. Well, he one of the main pieces to make it dominant. So, he gonna really. Debo wanted the bag. Well, this boy gonna really get the bag. So, and he gonna be worth every penny of the bag. So, yeah, go ahead and sign it up, write it up, whatever y'all gotta do. And on some level, they got a framework of what it is, because they gonna look at other deals like his brother deal and some of the other deals that's been signed here in the last couple of years. So they got a framework for what it's gonna be, going forward. So I don't think it's gonna be no long drawn out type of contract negotiation, just because they already have a framework because of some of the top other edge rushers that's out there. So like I said, it'll be cool. That should be an easy sign and an easy announcement when that time comes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's talk extensions for players on 1-year contracts. Mosley, Aziz, Jennings, any other players that y'all might want to mention. You think those deals get done? What we looking at?
I with Dre, I think it's gonna be where any more extensions really going on that it's season. Maybe Jimmy gets a contract extension. He's set to count 6.395 this year, and he's not even signed. That's all they did with him. So if they could get him back, they can actually save over $6 million in cap room by just sending him to a 5-year extension. A true 5-year extension that can be a shorter term, like they did with Debo. I think how well they play. I mean, personally, I would try to get the deal for its best price as possible. It's smart on their part if they. That's what we're seeing around the world, so they're getting rewarded. Get rewarded for betting on themselves, really going out there and playing as hard. Doesn't have to be a 1 year prove it deal. It can be betting on yourself to play the best that you can play. Debo is the perfect example, in my opinion. I think.
Well, I think it'd be beneficial. Oh, go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was
gonna say, well, it's gonna be beneficial. I mean, I know Jimmy Ward, coming up again, so he may really, he might finally make the Pro Bowl after all of these years. I think he primed to have a Pro Bowl season. So let's just say he have the Pro Bowl season at that point. You're not trying to let him lead the building too because of the leadership and everything that he done brought in. He didn't battle through injuries to finally be healthy the last couple of years and really produce. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't help them as far as, I guess, restructuring and so on and so forth. So, you would want to reward him as well. And anybody else, like I said, that like E-Man and Aziz and, anybody that is gonna really produce this year, like you said, bet on themselves. If they have really helped you and helped the team get to what they're trying to get, then obviously, you're gonna try to allocate money to them to keep them. So, in the case of the people on a 1 year contracts that you betting on yourself, if you ball out, then I think they would reward you as much as they could. I think they was kind of hamstrung with the whole Jimmy G situation with the surgery because they figured if he was traded before free agency, I always say they probably would have had the money to keep DJ Jones and maybe Tomlinson, if they wanted to, but they was kind of hamstrung because of the whole situation with that. So they didn't allow them to be able to do it. So, but you got to give Parag and the front office credit because they was able to maneuver through that situation to get Debo re-signed. And, eventually he either going to be released or traded. So that's going to free up money, like you were saying, Jason, which will allow them to allocate it to, to the structure, how they got the team now. So, I mean, it's just another feather in our cap, I think, just in terms of how they was able to maneuver through the whole Jimmy G situation and still get Debo signed, and you still got the core of your team intact, knowing that his money eventually gonna be free to help you this season, but also next season. And then, as the salary cap, is supposed to grow, then that can only enhance what we trying to do. As far as, keeping a roster intact and maybe adding to it, maybe 1 or 2 free agents here, but, homegrown talent, rewarding the homegrown talent that y'all developed through the draft and through your, coaching and things like that. I think that's really where it's going to be more beneficial with the salary cap, is because they, really, I mean, outside of the first year of the regime, it's been mostly draft and develop, some free agents here, specific free agents to bring in. Outside of that first year, they had to sign everybody because they didn't have anything. But through the 6 years, they didn't build the team up, mostly through the draft. And like I say, some selected free agents and, some, players that didn't produce on other teams, they was able to develop them. So now I think, especially with Trey and them having to give up all of the draft choices, you've seen them in the last 2 years be more of a draft and develop team because of that. But eventually they'll get that first round pick back. And then the coaching hires that they've had have given them extra 3rd round picks to maneuver around with. So, it's really falling into place with the draft, with free agency, and just the salary cap. Yeah, so it's really coming together for them. And so this is the window that we've been wanting for them to have, especially now with Trey Lance.
Yeah,
I think the Super Bowl window is wide open for them because of the salary cap. They've managed it well. They've done the draft well. They've done free agency well also. So it's like a perfect storm for them right now. This is the opportunity to go win at least 1 Super Bowl or start, and maybe 2, maybe 3 in this window that they have because of all of the factors that we're talking about.
All right. Well, we talking winning. We're talking drafting and developing players. Uh, Two players that I'm gonna mention will fall into both of those categories: Brandon Ayuk and Mike McGlinchey.
Mm.
Extensions for those guys.
Ooh,
Because as far as
Brandon right
McGlinchey,
now. Okay, McGlinchey. McGlinchey. That's a tough one to kind of gauge what's going to happen.
right?
We got to really wait and see how he played that injury. I think it was injury. I think it was or something where he and from all accounts he's having a great. Hopefully, I mean, if he plays, see where they bring McGlinchey back, the 12 to 14 million a year range. I know he plays. He's got to prove that pass blocking, pass protection.
Mhm.
But I think I wrote how going young at guard will be more of our other player. And guys like Mosley, Green, Ward. I mean, they're probably McGlinchey is a guy that they can keep. Have to pick and choose exactly who they was when you're salary cap like it is. I mean, you can't keep everybody, unfortunately. So everybody's they're gonna want their money.
Yeah, I think as far as McGlinchey goes, this a big year for him. Um,
Yeah,
he was a first round pick, and for the majority of his career, he have been a solid, good, productive player. He had some
yeah,
injuries that have set him back.
yeah,
And
yep,
then there's the whole weight issue. So I think this year for him, if he can be that dominant run blocker that they drafted him to be, but also improve with the pass protection. But the main thing is just maintaining the weight to be able to hold up against the pass
yeah,
rushers. If he can do that and play all
yep,
the games, then I think
yep,
he could get rewarded with a contract, and I think they would keep him. But you see where they drafted the Jalen Moores and Nick Zakells and some of these other guys, to be in place just in case maybe he didn't produce unfortunately, I always say God forbid get hurt, so if he can stay
yep,
healthy and produce and is a factor in the offensive line in terms of the run game, in terms of the pass blocking, especially with Trey back there, then I think he'll get rewarded with a contract. They would extend him. I think so. If we just talking about him specifically, I think I will say it's a question mark right now. We got to see what he gonna do on the field. Just coming back off the
yep,
injuries.
yep,
I think if E-Man ball out, I think E-Man gonna get that contract. I think E-Man gonna get the contract anyway. You know, um, just
so
because
yeah,
he, yeah, just because he really produced. He was hurt, but when he was in there, he was a valuable player. Contributor, and I don't know.
yeah,
I think he was undrafted too, so I think he's gonna get the
yep,
money regardless. I think he's gonna have maybe 4, 5, 6 interceptions. This year because I think they're gonna be more aggressive just in terms of the coverages
yeah,
and the press man coverages and so on and so forth. So if you're just talking about those two guys specifically, I think E-Man's gonna get the money, and if Mike gonna have to produce and show that he is worthy of getting the money because you could
yeah,
either do one or two things. You could roll with the players that you drafted in the last 2 years because they didn't draft a bunch of offensive linemen in the last 2 years, or we don't know what type of offensive lineman gonna be in this coming draft next year, in 23. But
mm-hmm,
if they got somebody that's capable that they think could come in and take that spot, then you could draft and you have them on a rookie deal and you don't have to pay the 12 to 14 million like you were talking about, Jason. So
yep,
they got
yep,
flexibility there just in terms
yep,
of okay, if he produce, we could give him the 12 to 14 million, or we got backups that we think could be starting tackles, or
yep,
if there's a tackle in the draft that we think is even better than what we drafted the last 2 years, we can get him on a rookie contract and save a whole boatload of money and allocate it somewhere else. So they got options, and The main thing that they want options. So I mean,
So
it's a
what about
win-win for them either way it go.
brother Brandon Ayuk?
Oh, Brandon's gonna get paid.
Yeah.
Brandon, right now, an extension. He will be next off season, and he's having a great hit on their two receiving bow in 2019 and then 2020. And Brandon, I think he could, if they stick to what they're doing, players with 1 year left in their contract, they'll option for 2024. Come 2020, him or go to negotiate within the. It's going to be tough to then, but I mean, he's probably going to get around what Debo got. He's well worth it. If he has a pro, you have Debo and Ayuk together.
Right.
You need both. It'll just make Trey Lance's career. It'll make it easier on him because he'll know 11 or go to 85. You got 3 reliable pass, and then if Juwan can do his development, you got another one. He's not a free agent until I think 2024, and he won't be unrestricted until he's under team control. Pretty much how the cost control a couple more years, so we'll have time. And if he balls, there's no telling what it's just going to go up and up and up. Up and up. TV deals starting next year. It's going to be a rocket.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you're looking at Brandon from his standpoint, man, well, he's an ascending player. So, his first 2 years, there was the whole COVID he produced, but then, he was in a doghouse last year, but he came out of it and produced. He didn't had a great all season, OTAs, mini camp, he balling out in training camp. And so our expectation is for him to go over 1,000 yards. I think he started out with 700 or whatever his rookie year, then he went to 8. So now the expectation is he goes to 1,000. Well, if he gets over 1,000 yards and maybe make a Pro Bowl or something like that, then that's going to, put him in position to get the big contract. I think it's kind of similar to Debo. I think Debo would have got Debo rookie season, he had almost 1,000 yards. Then the second year, he was hurt because that whole season, the whole team was hurt. But if we know if he was healthy, he would have probably went over 1,000 yards, and he probably would have got a contract quicker because of the season that he had this past year, where he was just all world. He was a unicorn out there.
Oh yeah.
So let's look at Brandon. Let's look at Brandon Ayuk the same way. If Brandon Ayuk every year he then ascended in terms of his yards and his production. So if he crossed 1,000-yard threshold going into that 5th year, because this is what 3rd year, 4th year, however many years it is.
Third.
Okay, so you figure they're gonna want him to do back-to-back years of production to justify the 5th year option and the extension. So if he keep ascending like he have, if he cross 1,000-yard barrier, then there's gonna be an expectation that okay, you could probably maybe get close to 1,500 yards because we're looking at it from the standpoint of okay, Trey Lance is gonna keep growing and evolving, and as he keep growing and evolving, y'all got the connection, and eventually the offense is gonna get better because Trey gonna be and played all within a full season, then went through the ups and the downs, and the game gonna slow down the more reps he get in those games and his confidence and all of that. So, like Jason is saying, you gotta keep him to keep that, to keep him as that offensive weapon. But we figure as Trey grow, Debo gonna keep evolving, and Brandon gonna keep evolving. So at the same time, all of this is going on, like Jason is saying, the salary cap because of the TV deals is gonna go up. So that's gonna give you that's gonna give the team the flexibility to be able to keep you and give you the money because you're gonna have the money available. But it's all coming down to that production. So really, we got to look at for Brandon the next 2 years. If he keep ascending and keep developing and being this 1A to D, 1B to Debo's 1A, if you want to call it that, then he gonna be in line to get paid. But it's gonna be because he keep ascending from where he started.
Yep.
Okay.
And
And
he's
go
a
ahead, Jay.
dog. He's a player. I love that in him. I absolutely love Debo. Got to keep both of them. And the other one's gonna get done. And
and Jennings, you guys think he'll ultimately get extended too? I know you big on Jennings, P Warrior.
Yeah, I think so. I think, you know, and it's kind of similar to Brandon, just in terms of injuries and maybe inconsistency. You know, like, you know, Juwan started off kind of, you know, 7th-round pick, you know, was hurt, had to battle his way onto the roster, but Shanahan always saw what he could do. Shanahan like those tough physical receivers that can block one, but who physical, run out the catch, you know, ain't afraid to take that lick, but can dish it out. And that's Jennings, you know. No, he don't have the blazing speed, but run after the catch, man. You know, it ain't always about a 40 time. Run after the catch, catching a ball in crucial situations, Jennings came through. It's the same thing. Jennings just got to produce. Now, we know, like I said, his rookie year, he really didn't play because he was hurt. Last year, he started off with some injuries and he had to work his way through. But by the end of the year, like Shanahan said, he came on, the light bulb came on, he got his confidence, he was healthy, he started producing, making plays. We don't get to the playoffs if he don't make those plays in a Rams game. And then in the playoffs, he showed up. So now, and he didn't had a good, you know, he had great all season, mini camp, OTAs, he having a solid training camp. I like Jennings because he got that dog in him. He fearless. He ain't afraid for that contact. He ain't afraid to mix it up and get in there. Yeah. So all we need from him is to be that third. Yeah. You know, we just need him to continue to produce, continue to develop his game. And if he do that, he gonna be rewarded. Shanahan in the front office gonna reward you. We know Shanahan, a lot of it is trust. He trusts Juwan. So all Juwan got to do is stay healthy and produce. And like I say, you will be in line to get a contract. And okay, if the team got control over you until 24, then this year and next year is about production. I look at it as for Brandon and for Juwan, it's about production. You know, in the next 2 years, if y'all produce, then you're gonna be rewarded for that because you're gonna be core and central to what the offense is with Trey Lance. And a lot of this is tied to Trey Lance because he on a rookie deal, because you're trying to keep the core of the team together, because he on a rookie deal. Now, if Trey becomes what we expect him to become, well, we know he's gonna be in line for the big payday, but it's gonna be coming at the right time because of what the salary cap is gonna become. If the salary cap going up because of all of this money that's gonna be flooded with the TV deals into it, then it's perfect timing. So you got the core of your team intact, and you got him getting paid at the same time, and you're not losing players. You still got the core of your team together. So if these boys produce like they capable of producing, man, it's this is like I said, it's like the perfect storm of everything coming together for us to really do some things and really get back on top of this league because of how they have built the team up and some of the, you know, they've done some really shrewd moves as far as how they structure their contracts and at the same time how they've been selective in bringing in certain players and you know even when they made some kind of mistakes they still was good, you know, in terms of how they structured the contract where it wasn't a real bad cap hit on it.
Right. All right. Jason probably just had a little. There we go. Right on time, brother. All right, there, brother Jason. Good. All right. Well, while we work on that, we gonna do this, brother. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I want to talk about the salary cap right now, bro. Where we are right now and where we need to be going into the season.
Mm-hmm.
That was specifically for Jason, but let's see.
I keep trying to get his audio and stuff together.
Well, in the meantime, while let me see, while he working on that,
Mm-hmm.
we could talk a little bit about what's coming up tomorrow. Yeah, all right. Let's
Yeah.
see. We got to touch on that a little bit. No go, Jason. Still ain't got you, bro.
Yeah, they keep trying to work it out.
So Trey should be starting tomorrow, right?
Yeah, that's what Shanahan said. He gonna play a little bit. Was kind of touching on that last night on Always Faithful 24/7. Got to give shout out to Mark and the crew. Man, it was a great show night. Had Cam Inman on from the San Jose Mercury um news. And
Speaking of, brother
yeah, I
Mark,
know I just saw Mark. I sent him the link before we came on because it's been kind of a little hectic day for me. And I was kind of late getting the stuff to you for the night, and then just kind of tweeting the stuff out and putting it on Facebook and stuff. But yeah, he's supposed to play and supposed to um I don't know how long he's gonna play. I was saying last night, man, play one series and get him out of there. You know what I'm saying? We don't need him out there the whole time, and then he ain't supposed to play in the next game. But man, I won't see the offensive line. I won't see the running backs. You know what I'm saying? Some of the rookies, some of the undrafted free agents type of things. We don't need to see the starters really. We know what they is. We know what our starters gonna be and what they gonna do out there. So let's see what Trey gonna do for a series. And let's see what the running back's gonna do. I want to see Trey Sermon. I think it's a big, preseason for him. So I want to see him out there. See the boy from LSU Price, see the undrafted running back Mason, see how they use him and so on and so forth. So I think that's what I think we all looking to see. We looking to see what the offensive line gonna look like, some of the backups, and the running backs and some of the other players that, are either gonna be to the back end of the roster or will be, on the practice squad. And God forbid no injuries out there. Let's get everybody through with no injuries, healthy, you know what I'm saying, to go to the next game. So that's what I'm looking for. I don't know, what you might be
I'm ex-
particularly keen in on.
I'm expecting about 3 series, maybe. Uh, I did well, and depending on how everything goes with the offense, obviously if they move the ball and/or score, we'll get them
Mhm.
out of there fairly quickly. But I'm expecting 2 to 3 series. Let's get them a couple reps. Uh, and I'm interested. I'm interested to see. Excuse me, can't even talk. Ray McLeod. I want
Mhm.
kind of check him out and see what he's doing in the slot, and I want to see the nickel corners. Well, all the corners really, because none of the starters will be out there, but I'm interested to
Yeah.
see who's gonna be in the nickel and kind of how
Mhm.
they play that nickel spot.
Right. Yeah. I
Brother
got you.
Jason, let me see if you
Yeah.
one time for the one time. It's doing some type of clicking, but I'm not catching you.
Yeah. Yeah, I could hear it click, but yeah, I don't hear him. Well, it'll be interesting to see how they do with with the corners. I think they'll start Amber Thomas and Lenore, and then Womack and the other guy, oh, I'm forgetting, think of his name. They, probably Denard, they'll probably play him. I think defensive line wise, they'll probably play a lot of You know, I don't think. Well, I don't know if they're gonna play any starters. I know Nick ain't gonna be out there for sure. Armstead ain't gonna be out there for sure. Maybe Kinlaw will get a little run, but I don't want him in there too long because man, you just don't want to take a chance of these boys getting hurt. You didn't battle back from all these injuries and they did all of
No,
these things to get back
I
healthy.
think Jackson might get a little burn.
Yeah, I think Jackson to get some run. Yeah, play to me, man. Play the rookies, man. Play the young players. Play the guys who you know is on the back end of the roster, maybe fighting for a spot, maybe fighting for a practice squad spot, so on and so forth. Play them. You don't need to see the front line guys out there. You know what I'm saying? We know what they gonna do. We know the production. We know, man, we just trying to get to the regular season healthy. And that's what I'm saying. You could play Kinlaw a little bit, but they don't need to be out there a whole lot. Let him get let him get lathered up a little bit, get out there and, get back on a field and, get the feel of it. But then, man, get him out of there because, man, the way he all talking about, he looking in training camp and how he been progressing, man. He on the verge of doing something really good. And we just don't want to risk a chance, God forbid, anybody getting hurt, let alone him out there. So, I just hope they just be wise with how they play these boys. You know what I'm saying? And maybe he don't get no run out there, or maybe he do get a little bit and then, they going to get him out of there really quick because we got enough depth on the defensive line. We don't need him out there. You know what I'm saying? So, that's what I'm looking at more the offense. I'm not worrying about the defense. I just think the defense going to be what we expect it to be anyway. It's going to be top notch, top 5, top 3, could be number 1 overall and a lot of stats, but I want to see the offensive line play from the
I
backups
want
and
to check
these
out
guys.
TDP too. That's it. I always get that.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the running backs and offensive line, and I want to see Brundle and Brunskill. You know what I'm saying? That's what I was saying last night on Always 24/7. I want to see this out of center, play out there. I want to see the offensive line. I want to see the running backs because, a lot of the narrative in training camp was the offensive line was getting whipped by the defensive line, but a lot of that was when they wasn't in pads. And then when in pads, they still was on some way losing some of the battles, but then they was winning some of the battles. So I want to see how they, do against, fresh meat against, a new opponent, a brand new team, different players. I want to see the running backs, and can Trey Sermon be that one cut running back, that we need him to be. Price, is the physical back, but got the size and the speed to go with it. And then you got Mason, who been raving in training camp. So I won't see that. And then let's see Hasty be the third down man and maybe get a couple carries himself in the game as well. So I'm looking at the offensive line and running back. I ain't even really worrying about the receivers because, I don't think Debo will be out there. Brandon might not be out there. And then whoever you got backing him up, then okay, let them get some run out there, because y'all going to be either the 5th or the 6th receiver man anyway. Now I want to see the special teams too. I want to see how the coverage units do, how the kick and the punt return units do. If they're gonna put McLeod back there, they're gonna put Danny what's the boy name? They're gonna put Danny Gray back there. So I want to see the special teams too because like I said, the coach come from Seattle. Seattle pretty much always had good special teams. So I want to see the special teams as well. I want to see how well they do out there. So yeah, I want to see them as well. So yeah, man, I want to see how they roll out there as well. So it'll be interesting to see how it go.
Check out old Aaron Banks too, because he wanted a
Yeah.
lineman I kind of was in.
Yeah, I think if Trey coming out there, they're gonna go with the starting offensive line, maybe outside of Trent Williams. I don't think Trent Williams playing at all. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so they'll probably have McKivitz or whoever will be the backup man for that. But yeah, I want to see Banks. I want to see Burford. And I watched the interview with Burford, man. He was awesome out there at the presser, man. Real intelligent young guy, man. And yeah, I think he got that right guard spot locked down. So yeah, I would like to see I just want to see the offensive line because that's the one area where everybody nervous and kind of skeptical of, what could happen. So man, I want to see the offensive line. I want to see the running backs because we know it's going to be running back by committee. We know Elijah the starter, but hopefully you stay healthy. But if not, we got to have confidence that Trey Sermon or TDP or even Jeff. Well, they don't really got to play Jeff Wilson. We know what Jeff. See, that's what I'm saying. Certain players, we know who you are. We know what you can do. We know you didn't produce. We don't need to see you. We don't need to see Jeff Wilson. We know what Jeff Wilson bringing to the party. You know, we need to see Trey Sermon. We need to see TDP. We need to see Mason out there. That's what we need to see. Exactly. Yeah. Just like you said, Spencer Burford is the truth, bro. I agree with you on that.
Hey man, I heard him talking on. I was watching Brick by Brick.
Yeah, and I got to go back and watch it, man, because I had fallen asleep. I was trying to
Really?
watch it today, and I fell asleep last night watching it. I got to go back and watch it again.
I was impressed with
And
him.
yeah, and I was impressed with
His
the presser that he
attitude.
had the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, perfect, man. He gonna be nice for him, bro. They stole this boy, and so like I said, I want to see the line and the running backs, out there tomorrow, and really the whole preseason. Let's see how they progress from game to game. You know what I'm saying, out there. Even when they go to do the scrimmages against the Vikings, let's see how y'all do, against different teams now. You've been practicing against your own. You know what they could do. Let's see how you do.
Yeah, bro.
Let's see how they do against different competition out there, because that's gonna be a telltale going into that first game in the regular season. So that's what I'm looking for tomorrow, man. Like I said, no injuries, offensive line, running backs, special teams. I want to see the coverage units. I want to see the punt units. That's what I want to see. So that's why I'm mad with it.
Nah, I got you, bro. Well, let's see one more time. Brother Jason. Nah, it's all good. Well, I will, man. Like, I appreciate your efforts, bro. Sometimes if the technical difficulties can be a pain, but we appreciate you giving us your time and your expertise. We'll definitely get you back on where we could chop it up again. Y'all make sure y'all tune in next week. We'll be breaking down the game, recapping everything. And hopefully we could get Mark and some of the guys to come rock with us too. We could chop it up a little bit. So once again, Jason Hurley at 49erscap.com. Want to thank you for your time, brother. Yes, sir. Definitely hit you up. For P Warrior _9 and myself, been good. The Faithful Boys Podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We out of here.